Another thing was that we began developing cooperation within West Africa, like Nigeria, Togo, and beyond. And within the year, when the African report came out, we realized 656% growth. Good evening, all. My name is Adonis Aymar TELLA-DELIS. I'm a leadership and governance consultant, legal consultant, translation interpreter, translator interpreter, French, English, and Spanish. I joined AIESEC in June 2000, and the main motivation was that I was then a student of the University of Ghana, Legon. I was a student of then business administration, later switched to public administration. So what really captivated me to join was that I took part in a leadership training and motivation seminar, where in the span of 6-7 hours, I was able to learn as much as I could have learned in 1 year in terms of management, strategic planning, communication. And those speakers were professionals or alumni with a real pedigree, both within the AIESEC network and in a professional field. And I was really, really captivated. That's how come an organization within a student environment could provide such opportunities. And then I joined in June 2000, and I went through, the mill, I would say. The next thing was that I was subject of reform that benefited me, because by September 2000, the new local committee president, who had been the organizing committee president of the local training seminar or leadership training and motivation seminar, that's LTMS, became local committee president. And he had a vice president for exchange. And he wanted to have a focus on each aspect of the exchange program there: an incoming exchange responsible person and another outgoing exchange responsible person. So I was offered the opportunity of becoming by appointment, with the consent of all other executive board members. Within 3 months of being a member, I, vice president for incoming exchange. So I was in charge of marketing the exchange program to companies and facilitating students, from outside Ghana, then, to come into the network. And the vice president of exchange initially, he became vice president for outgoing exchange. Later on, the vice president for marketing or corporate development then, resigned because he was not available and had to take care of both studies and family business. So because my area was more oriented towards marketing and, external placement and corporate issues. So I was adjourned that portfolio. From there, I took part in my first conference after the LTMS, which was the African Exchange Program and Leadership Development Seminar, Afro-XLDS, in Cairo, in Egypt. And I was the only representative of AIESEC in Ghana. And what I had then has been a key element in my life. So automatically when I came back, I was a facilitator for the next edition of the local training motivation seminar. Then I ran for local committee president. And by 2001, I was already local committee president, and I served as president of AIESEC Legon from 2001 and 2002. At that time, AIESEC Legon was realizing under my leadership with my vice president, there were 90% of results of AIESEC in Ghana that had been downgraded for lack of performance and some issues with AIESEC International. We had to really revamp the entity starting from the local level. And at some point, the voice of local committee president of AIESEC Legon was a strong voice within the national environment and even beyond. I finished my term, and I still had some years of study. So I withdrew and began giving advice to the local committee leaders, providing, coaching, sometimes chairing some events. And by the time I was done in 2006, I ran for member committee president, so national president of AIESEC in Ghana. By 2007, I was done with studies and set up my company, BENIN Africa, consultancy firm. One of the founding partners was AIESEC. Even when I very studied, I would say, subsidiary within Benin, that became the main setup. I still had some association with some AIESECers in the process. So I ran for AIESEC member committee president of AIESEC in Ghana, so national president in 2009, and lost. And a few months later, I ran for MCP of AIESEC in Benin, and I was elected. At that time, Benin didn't have any local committee, because let's say that Benin had been an entity that thrived within the early 90s and was disbanded because it was totally inactive. So it was revamped in 2005 in its current form, I would say. And I became national committee president or member committee president. Promised to set up an LC and a local committee, but at the end of the day, my term, I set up, led the process of setting up two local committees rather than one in Cotonou and one in Abomey-Calavi. Today, the entity has a lot more, of course. We've gone to the north, to Port Novo and all that. But it was key to build that process. Also, in terms of the criteria to become full member, because he started the initiative in 2005. In 2008, it became an official extension, so it could elect now not a local committee under AIESEC in Togo, the committee president under AIESEC in Togo, but now a full-fledged member committee president to lead an MC that will be an official extension of AIESEC International, as approved in Macedonia International President meeting in 2008. So I became the second national committee president within that form of being an official extension. And we led the entity from 5 criteria out of 15 to get 13 criteria out of 15 to get full membership. What was left was external audit and proper registration. We introduced the process of registration, and that within, I think, 3 years after that, he was a full-fledged member of AIESEC International. We laid that foundation. Another thing was that we began developing cooperation within West Africa, neighboring countries like Nigeria, Togo, and beyond. And within the year, when the African report came out, we realized 656% growth, looking at all the criteria, exchange and every other thing. We have totally revamped the entity. I went then to India for an experience at Tata Consulting Services as a language consultant and coach, and also quality test officer for an online banking project. So we had an offshore team in India that I was working with, and an onshore team with a client in France. So I was doing translation, communication with a team in France and India, and also providing some, basic level training to my Indian colleagues. Came back, and in 2011 became a founding member of AIESEC Alumni BENIN, Vice President for External Relations, in charge of relation with other entities within the network and also other partner entities like AIESEC BENIN itself. And as such, I oversaw a couple of processes of election of leaders of AIESEC in Benin, and I've served for 10 years as VP External Relations, served as manager for under the Vice President for Professional Development, AIESEC Alumni Middle East and Africa from 2020 to 2021, and from 21-23, I serve as Vice President of AIESEC Alumni Middle East and Africa for operations and Board of Advisors, and finally left the board and came back in 2025. So in the current term, I'm the Vice President in charge of legal and governance for AIESEC Alumni Middle East and Africa. Corporate understanding from a young age, still as a student, interpersonal skills, and understanding of building a process, planning and achieving. What I am today, AIESEC definitely has always been a key element of what I became. And I'm very happy to always give back and support the growth of the movement and build leaders for the future. Thank you very much.